Welcome to the dojo, student. Step inside, leave your distractions at the door, and let's get focused. You see, today's explainer is going to cut pretty deep. We're going to dissect exactly why your grand visions, your massive goals, and your absolute best plans usually remain nothing more than shadows on the wall. I'm honestly thrilled you're here, because the lessons we are unpacking today are ancient, brutal, and totally transformative. We're looking at the samurai's cure for laziness.
Now, I really want you to ask yourself this and be completely honest here. Do you dream of greatness, but kind of secretly fear the training yard? Because, well, it's incredibly easy to sit in the warmth of your room and just imagine yourself as a master. You picture the victories, you envision the accolades, and you feel that rush of pride. But when it's actually time to pick up that heavy wooden sword, to sweat, to build calluses, to deal with aching muscles, do you suddenly decide you'd rather have a comfortable cup of tea over the cold reality of steel? Do you spend more time imagining your victory than actually doing the work to prepare for it? It's the classic trap, and so many of us fall right into it. On one hand, you've got these grand plans. This is you reading up on famous battles, studying advanced strategies, and endlessly plotting your path to glory, but with, let's be real, soft, uncalloused hands. And then on the other hand, you have zero action. The cold reality of just waiting around for motivation to strike, or tricking yourself into believing that endless preparation is the exact same thing as making progress. The contrast is staggering. The sheer grandeur of your planning is completely canceled out by the absolute zero of your physical effort.
Section 1. The Tragedy of Yuki. Ambition without action.
To really grasp the danger here, we've got to look at a cautionary tale from feudal Japan. Enter Yuki. He was a young samurai with massive ambitions. He wanted to be the absolute greatest warrior in the land, master all these different weapons, bring immense honor to his clan, the whole shebang. But whenever it was actually time to step up and train, out came the excuses. Suddenly the weather was just a little off today, or a mysterious ache would appear, like a sudden allergy to hard work, right? Or the most insidious excuse of all, I really need to plan my training routine a bit more carefully before I start. Yuki honestly believed his ambition alone was going to carry him to the top. He completely dodged the discomfort of daily practice by hiding behind these pathetic rationalizations. But here's the thing. Time is the ultimate judge, my student. As the years rolled by, Yuki's dreams just got bigger and bigger in his head, but his actual physical skills? Totally stagnant, unpracticed. Now contrast that with the younger warriors. They weren't dreaming these grand, poetic dreams, but man, they had daily discipline. They trained every single day, rain or shine. And as the years ticked by, those younger, disciplined warriors absolutely left him in the dust. The passage of time heavily punished Yuki's inaction, while completely rewarding the relentless discipline of the youth. So, it all boils down to this really harsh truth. His dreams had not lifted him higher, they had actually made him weaker. Listen, this is the tragedy of Yuki, and, if we're being completely honest, it might just be your tragedy too if you aren't careful. Unchecked ambition, when it's stripped of actual action, doesn't propel you forward. It just leaves you deeply frustrated, completely unprepared when the battle actually starts, and ultimately full of regret. His whole identity as a dreamer just created this massive unbridgeable gap between what he wanted and what he was actually willing to bleed for.
Moving right along to Section 2, the illusion of motivation. Waiting to feel ready.
We need to completely tear down this idea that you have to feel inspired before you get to work. Actually, our brains play this really sneaky trick on us. The more you just talk about your plans without doing them, your mind literally rewards you as if you've already put in the work. Your brain gives you this little rush of dopamine just for talking about it. And that right there is why talking without doing is so incredibly dangerous. It creates a totally fake sense of accomplishment. It's a trap that quietly drains hours, days, and years of your life. And once that time is gone, you're never, ever getting it back.
The samurai taught that waiting for motivation to hit before you start your work is basically like waiting for perfect weather before you start a long journey across the country. If you sit around waiting for that perfectly sunny 70-degree day, you're probably going to wait forever. True discipline? That's the warrior who chooses to walk even when it's pouring rain. Because the ones who are willing to walk in the rain, to train when they're exhausted, to study when they are bored out of their minds, they are always going to reach their destination miles ahead of the person waiting for a sunny day.
Let's break down how this actually works, because most people have it completely backwards. Step 1, take action. Step 2, build momentum. And Step 3, generate energy. Notice something. Motivation isn't this magical spark that gets you moving. That is a myth for the weak. Motivation is the flame that follows the action. You force yourself to take that very first step, That physical action creates a little bit of momentum, and that momentum actually generates the energy you need to keep going. The people who achieve greatness, they aren't walking around inspired every single day, they just act, even when they feel completely uninspired.
Which brings us to Section 3, the way of small steps, the wisdom of Musashi.
So how do we actually apply all this ancient wisdom right now, today? We looked at Kaizen Nomi. Basically, it translates to the way of small improvements. The samurai taught that a mountain is climbed one single step at a time. Think about it. You don't conquer a mountain by standing at the bottom, staring way up at the peak and just wishing you could teleport up there, right? That just makes you feel overwhelmed. You conquer it by looking at the dirt right in front of your boots and taking one step. Even if that step feels laughably small, if you repeat it relentlessly, it turns into immense strength. Progress doesn't actually have to be fast. It just has to be absolutely unstoppable. This exact mindset belonged to the legendary swordsman Miyamoto Musashi. Centuries ago, he figured this out. He didn't try to transform his life or his skills with some dramatic, movie-style burst of inspiration. No, unlike those exaggerated battles you read about while sitting comfortably on your couch, his true strength was forged in the super quiet, unglamorous rhythm of repetition. He committed to small, steady actions every single day. The samurai didn't just train when their emotions lined up perfectly. They trained because it was simply their way of life. Humble, quiet, daily discipline. All right, on to our final piece, Section 4, Forging Iron Through Discipline.
Now it's time to bring this home to you, student. It is time to stop dreaming and start doing. Imagine a lazy student, maybe someone a lot like you, who finally decides, okay, enough with the excuses. They don't jump into some crazy 5-hour backbreaking workout. They just choose to practice one single sword form every single morning. On day 1, sure, friends laugh at the tiny effort. They say it's pointless, but he tunes them out. By month 3, that movement is completely automatic. His body is stronger, the technique is sharp. And by month 6, he realizes he's built this massive, unbreakable foundation. Now it can pick up advanced skills like it's nothing, while all those friends who laughed and waited for motivation are literally still stuck at the starting line. That smallest step, it carries way more power than your grandest plan.
You've really got to engrave these samurai truths into your mind. First off, preparation without practice, that is literally just procrastination in a fancy disguise. Stop planning and just swing the sword. Second, talking creates this totally fake illusion of progress while leaving you completely unchanged in reality. Silence your mouth, activate your body. And third, waiting for motivation is basically handing the keys to your entire future over to your most unreliable, fleeting emotions. True strength, my student, is looking a tough task dead in the eye and saying, I'm doing this whether I feel like it or not.
I want you to really sit with the weight of these words from the master teacher, Yagyu Munenori. He said, "The sword that waits for perfect conditions never leaves its sheath. If you wait for the right moment, you may wait forever." You see, a lot of the time, our laziness, our desperate need for perfect motivation, it actually just stems from fear. We're afraid of the discomfort of starting. We're terrified our efforts won't immediately pay off. But true discipline isn't about not having those fears. It's about drawing your sword and taking a step forward in spite of them. Wait for perfect, wait forever. It really is that simple. You absolutely cannot place your trust in your emotions because feelings change like the wind and you can't build a castle on the wind. Instead, put your absolute trust in your habits and your daily commitments. Those are the rock-solid foundations of literally every great human achievement. As the old warriors used to say, I am not controlled by my feelings, I am guided by my commitments. Feeling ready? Yeah, that's an absolute illusion.
Which leaves us with one final question as we wrap up our explainer in the dojo today. Rain or shine, inspired or totally exhausted, motivated or completely dreading it, what are you going to do today? Are you going to retreat back to the safety of your grand plans, or are you going to take that one, single, humble step out into the rain? The choice to act without waiting for motivation is the power to literally shape your entire life. Choose your path wisely, student. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.